But
What is the problem with this
You don't
guy?
believe in
I said I am not going to withdraw what I have said.
Where the pieces fall and the truth rises. Checkmate.
And today we have a very serious lineup, a lineup that is going to give you a very hot show on Hot 96. And of course I have three guests, three gentlemen, talk of town, and I just want them to introduce themselves today. We don't want to introduce them kwa sababu wako area.
Ngogoyo Nesmus is my name, MP for Kajiado North, and it's my first time here, so it's my pleasure being in the show today.
Charles Nguna, commonly known as CNN, MP Mwingi West.
My name is Abdullahi Anas. Good evening to the viewers. I was here before, I'm back. Thank you for hosting us.
Karibu sana. I want us to listen to some of the activities that took center stage this week. There were so many activities. The launch of DCP party, that is Democracy for the Citizens Party, and that's why we have Honorable Ngogoyo here. And of course, other activities. Watu wanasema sijui kuna mambo ya people are stalking issues that are going to probably cause some problems in future. But let's just listen to a song that has really taken over social media. The song you're singing to it.
That's the rallying call now for in Kenya, that President William Ruto will serve for one term because of his incompetence, being unable to manage the health system, and failing what was there before, what was NHIF, bringing SHE and SHA, which is not working, a failed university funding model, bringing down the economy, hurting and maiming Kenyans as president, overseeing a government that executes abduction in his watch. And for those many things, William Ruto will serve for one term. That's the rallying call. Towards the election of 2027, we want William Ruto to serve for one term. I'm a member of parliament elected on UDA. But my biggest regret is that as UDA, we sponsored William Ruto to be the presidential candidate. We failed. It was our mistake. But it can only be a mistake when it's repeated twice. So I ascribe to the one-term policy going forward and slogan. So we are saying William Ruto will serve for one term. And we have reasons. Sometimes he says that we attack him and we talk about him in all the meetings. He is the reason why we're saying one term is because there are issues that he has failed this country. He committed to complete all pending projects in assumption when he assumed office in 1.5 years. Okay. He has not done.
Okay.
Yes, we have been voicing voices all over saying one term. But I think we need to model ourselves and unify opposition if at all we are going to defeat William Ruto. And you may make a lot of noise, but politics is a strategy. We are saying one term. Who is going to send Ruto home? These are the questions we have to ask ourselves. But before then, based on the interests of the country, I would like to ask the opposition to tone down for the interest of the country. But the president should walk the talk of delivering the developments he promised to Kenyans, and listen to Kenyans. Yes.
So do you agree with him that the president will be a one-term president, according to the way you think?
It will depend on what he's going to do the next 2.5 years.
If an election is
if he delivers all his manifesto, maybe Kenyans will change. But at the moment, I would tell you exactly, things are not good with Kenyans the way they are talking. But there is still time to deliver all the manifesto.
You haven't answered the question, Mr.
Yes.
If an election were to be held today, would the president be re-elected?
No. That is the bitter truth.
And you support him?
That is the bitter truth. I'm telling you, the ground is not stable for president at the moment.
Okay.
But I think he has got a lot of time to fix issues. Just the way Onesimus and I myself, elected leaders, would want to be given time to deliver in our constituencies. I think it is only justifiable for Kenyans also to give the president time to deliver. And the best strategy for opposition right now, it is to tone down and strategize without exposing their weaknesses and coming up with proper manifesto, which is better than for William Ruto.
Well, I think I will ask, how did we get into this mess? And then I will say, we got into this mess because the political responses are inadequate. President Ruto was campaigning from 2017 when he was the deputy president for Uhuru Kenyatta. He got the opportunity with a very narrow win of about 200, maybe 300,000 votes.
233,000
votes. Now, when he came to office as the president, leading a country that is now close to 57 million, governance dictates that when you're forming government, there are three principles you must adhere to. One is having a very lean government, very small government, as in cabinet ministers, secretaries, and those, the top ones. Because the government of Kenya existed since 1963, so we're almost 62 years old. So we have enough technocrats running departments. Government is not run by the president. That's one. Two, we need, competent people in offices. That's one. Three, most importantly, which is one of the first principles of good governance, is everyone abiding the rule of law and becoming equal before the rule of law. In Kenya, even in law, there is iniquity. The guy who steals chicken is taken to court. Is taken to court because that's the process we have. Unfortunately, we cannot take guns like Libya or Somalia. And when you take him to court, the law is the law. That's why they call it the ass. So a person is jailed. And because he's jailed and poor, he can't pay like 5,000 or 2,000. So you see, so this is a country that is led by a group of elites. And I said this on Spice and other, forums. Kenya's problem started with Moi and Kenyatta. They created an elite system. So President Ruto failed as a person to sit down and slow down. When he came to power, he was, talking, running on top of rooftop. That's not what he was supposed to do. If you want to run this country, you consume data from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics.
Okay.
Then from there now, you plan for the country. So if you go to their website, there is issues of health, that. President Ruto has failed Kenyans, and I'm disappointed as a Kenyan.
And you agree with them that he made...
I don't agree with them. I don't.
What do you mean?
Politicians cannot choose. In my mother tongue, they say you can't have milk on this side and water on this side and expect not to mix. If you elected, I have a card of UDA, it's called a leader. When I was at Lavington office, I saw how things were running. I'm a guy who believes in processes. If the party was disorganized from that time, and the people around the office were asking for money for even to go and access the president, that was a red flag for me.
Okay.
So I left. So what we're saying is, when UDA came to power, it was just like Kanu, it was just like previous coalitions. There was nothing much interesting. Ruto was, accumulating wealth. He has never had industries. So it's just like any other person doing business with Kenya. Now he went to State House. Instead of thinking about rural Kenya, 69.7% of Kenyans, about 38 million, live in rural Kenya.
Okay.
So we are saying the president failed himself.
And has failed Kenya.
And has failed Kenya.
Okay. Your party leader, do you still belong to UDA?
I'm elected on UDA. I disagree on a number of many things. An impeachment that was overseen without the approval of the highest organ in the party, the National Delegates Conference, unfulfilled promises. And for those reasons, I will not engage further in the future with the party in the manner in which they have been operating. I like the DCP party. I ascribe to a number of things that they hold. So in future, I will consider engagements with that political party. And of course, the party leader is somebody I believe in. So, but I can assure you, I'll not vote for William Ruto. I will not be in the same party with William Ruto. He will not be the presidential candidate that I will support.
Okay.
Yes.
In 1994, Raila Odinga resigned from his seat as member of parliament, I think for Langata or so, Langata MP,
Yeah.
and sought a re-election to send a statement that I'm not
Fed up.
I'm fed up with this thing. Why can't you take that step?
Once we have the IBC, we will make decisions that are appropriate. So we're waiting for the approval of the current. Personally, whether William Ruto has Oscar Sudi there or anybody, no problem. Whoever he has for the chair or the members, the election will be determined at the polling stations. And nobody can alter the results of a polling station. So we are ready for William Ruto at the ballot. A number of us, members of parliament, will make key decisions once we have the IBC in place. Because even resigning now, there will be no election. Banisa has not had a member of parliament.
Almost 2 years.
Actually more than 2 years.
No.
One of the most unconstitutional things that have ever happened. A number of wards, 15 of them, now more now, I think 17, because of the Samburu guy and also the Kajiado MCA that we lost.
Yeah.
And Nairobi
Yes, and even Nairobi.
Yeah.
So we have almost 20 then in this case.
by elections.
Yeah, so at the point when IBC is constituted, I would want us to have the same conversation, but we will make historic decisions.
Okay.
Yes.
If I move it to them,
Yes.
your party leader, there are reports that he was almost arrested today.
Yeah, the second deputy president, I've seen cars here and there. I don't know whether it's true. My conversations with him, he has not told me he's been arrested yet. But there have been rumors. Murkomen has been saying things here and there. I would want to know if they want to arrest him for what. You know, what's the issue? Why would you want to arrest the deputy president?
You know the issue.
Which issue?
He made some statements that were
Concerning the
27.
IBC?
Yeah, 27
Now,
everything.
I do not want to... First of all, I believe in peace. I'm a student and I own a Bachelor of Peace and Conflict Resolution. So I'm a proponent of peace, and I believe in politics that is not divisive. But I want to read the end result. What was he saying? He said simple. The commissioners of the IBC cannot change the results. Whoever it is that will oversee the election, he cannot do anything. He cannot force William Ruto to become the president.
Okay.
The election will be determined by the voters at the polling stations, and all they have to do is to tally the results.
Okay. We have a bite of Murkomen and the deputy president now saying that they can even arrest him for stoking public emotions that could take us back to 2007. Very unfortunate.
Again, I would insist, you can express your views without hurting a brother or a sister. In this matter, I'm just beseeching the former deputy president actually to cease from inciting Kenyans. To me, based on his argument and what he pronounced, I think there was sort of incitement in Kenya. And what we need is we let's wait for general elections. The best thing is to go back to the room, address yourself, formulate a good manifesto, do a good strategy, but you will not defeat the president by going all over saying one term and you don't have a proper manifesto. You will not win 2027 elections by going and calling somebody a killer and you don't have justification on the same. There are so many things that was stage managed when we had abductions during the Gen Z protest.
You say
So-
there were people who faked
Of course.
abductions.
No. Abductions were there. Kenyans lost life. Young Kenyans especially lost life. But we are here to know who was responsible for those heinous acts. So let me tell these guys, and including my party leader, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, it is good to do things quietly. Form proper things and organize yourself than just going all over making reckless statements. In fact, you recall during the 2022 elections when Uhuru went all over insulting William Samoei Ruto, William won the sympathy vote because of that. The more we are going to insult the president, the more is attracting the sympathy vote for Kenyans.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's high time we tone down. Let us run the country. But of course, the president has to come up with proper development records. How now he's going to run this country. We cannot keep on launching projects and stalling projects all over the country and stalling. But so far, so good. Me, for the project he has done in my constituency, they are fairly going on very well, including the recent upgrading of Kibwezi Kitui Mwingi Road,
Okay.
which is about to kick off.
Okay.
Kenya leaders, or what you call political elected political persons, who is a leader? A leader is a person who has exceptional character and integrity. Meaning, when you speak, Islam tells us when you speak from the heart. When you speak from the heart, you speak to other people. So you don't own people. We are about 8 billion of us in this world. We are about 56 in Kenya, or 57. We are all given birth by a mom. We all human beings. So when you're given a position of privilege, I contested for Member of Parliament in 2013 and 2017. For you to contest in this country, whether as a president, you need to be a graduate above 18, blah, or 30 something or 20 something. As MCA, you need to be post-secondary. Being a Member of Parliament, you need to be post-secondary. So if you are lucky to be elected, when you compete, one person will be defeated, another one will win. There is no way if 4 of us competed, 4 of us will go to Parliament. One person will. Now, when you become the president of a country like this, because my friend here, I don't think they will have the character and the courage to resign. Very few people can dare the state, especially in Kenya. Now, Gachagua is now saying Sonko must go, Kasongo Sujui must go. When did that become a policy, a regulation, a statement to improve the economy? Is that based on economical theory? What you need to do is Gachagua was part of Ruto's government, just like my friends who were elected under UDA. Now that they parted ways, there are 2 things you do. You either legislate work and finish your term and go home, stop us, you're spewing crap. Because Kenyans are very intelligent people. You don't tell us this today and tell us that today. Just like Mandela said, if you see a man whose principle changes situations, that is not being a principled person. A principled person always looks at things fair to other people. Even if it's your enemy, you always be very fair to other people. Now what do? What as a country you do is, Gachagua was impeached. Why was he impeached? He was full of himself. He didn't know his position in government. He was the assistant principal to the president, just like the deputy governor. You have no role unless the Lord is designated to you. Unless, and I remember I wrote 2 articles, religious role in a secular state and why Gachagua must stop and start working. In the Star. And one of the things I said is, there was a gazette notice. He was given certain functions. What he will have done is, when you disagree with a person in the bedroom, whether you are married to a wife or you have a colleague in the politics, you don't spew every lenient outside there. You fight it, you're patient, you strategize. I don't think Ruto, I think Gachagua mistook Ruto as Uhuru. Ruto was not Uhuru. These are 2 different people in terms of character, in terms of vengeance, in terms of bit of arrogance. So this guy, when he became the president, they were both alpha male in a room. Alpha males don't like alpha males. What Gachagua was supposed to do is, he was supposed to realize that when you have 2 lions, there is a time you need to be a lion and there is a time you need to be a fox. That's 48 laws of power. He will have finished his term. Now he is impeached. He is now fighting court battles so that he can contest. So you cannot tell me Emmanuel To is good today. I am not saying anything in Parliament. I did not see my brother here from Kajiado spew whatever he is spewing when they were impeaching Gachagua, even before that. So you can't choose what to cherry pick in politics. You are either principal or you're not.
You can't have your cake
And eat it. Now that they have disagreed, it is not new. Because if you look at coalitions in this country, these are just parties packaged as, these are ethnical groups packaging themselves as parties. I mean, this party is now mainly having, what Gachagua is banking on is 3-4 million from central Kenya. What Raila is banking on is this. Now that there is information we got when IEBC was coming, we remember Nyachai was supposed to be the chairman, this, that. Then rumors came that the moment Matiang'i came, they had to look for someone who is not going to be a threat, because that 1 million will already, or 500,000 will disappear. What we have is a decay of a governance system led by parasitic politicians. You know why? A country that people in Pokot cannot afford water. I went to a place called Lomelo, because I do some consultancy work on issues of media work with some organizations. When we went to Lomelo is in Pokot, bordering Turkana. The Lomelo school has been brought to Kapedo. Okay? When you see those Kenyans, I went to a place called Kagir. So, when 70% of Kenyans have no access to clean water,
okay,
education is failing everywhere, including the universities. What we are supposed to be discussing is, and I said it even other, why are we discussing Ruto is one person? The people who can say Ruto is going to be a one-term person or not is the voters who are going to be about 27 million Kenyans. They are going to decide.
Okay.
Few running MPs or politicians will not decide that, because that itself is a problem.
Okay.
We decide who goes in the ballot paper, in the polling station. We count as a country. Then we decide if Ruto's supposed to go, then the votes will say, and then he will go.
Okay. Honorable Ngogoyo, we should have started from this, first of all. You launched a party, a DCP party. There's so many chaos there. Who brought those guns there?
Some of us, where we come from, and the communities we come from, we don't believe in violence. Continuously, I was attacked in Limuru. I had accompanied the deputy president to Limuru, and we were attacked in a funeral. My car, I have an OB number on the November 11th, OB number 32. That has not been actioned up to date. I reported at the Limuru police station. This violence has continued. In Shamata, I was in a function. A tear gas canister was thrown to the dais where we were. Continuously, there has been violence in meetings where Rigathi Gachagua has been attending. The job of the police is to provide, number one, law and order. Number two, if there was an incident, is to investigate. They have all that it takes. For instance, the tear gas canister in Shamata, they can know who did that. In Limuru, there are videos with faces of people hitting cars with machetes and a number of crude weapons. In my assessment, and I looked at what the Minister Murkomen, my namesake, said that the people in DCP party,
you did not invite the police.
One, he said we did not invite the police, but number two, he said we planned, because we did not pay the people who we invited there. First of all, that is wrong. That is wrong. That is barbaric. It is uncivilized, coming from a CS for Interior. This is somebody who should provide to every Kenyan, should guarantee their security. Talking in such a manner is very divisive. But I want to tell you that the state, if the state cannot contain such issues, it is the state that is planning. The state has the ability to stop any manner of violence. And if they are not able to stop, it means they're the ones planning. And I want to dare say that this is state-sponsored goons. There is evidence that these people were seen on cameras. Why is the government not going for them? If they do not have a hand in it, why are they not going for them? And continuously, there is a narrative that they are trying to run, and they would want to convince people that our meetings are not safe, so that people do not come. Unfortunately, the people want to be in our meetings. What they can do is to guarantee us. And I want to tell you that one of the reasons why President William Ruto must serve for one term is that democracy is grown by state structures. The National Police Service is not the National Police Service for William Ruto. It is the National Police Service for the country. It should guarantee the security of the position of anybody, political parties, because they are entities enshrined in the law. The Political Parties Act is clear that our party must be guaranteed of its existence because it is registered, has gone under all necessary bureaucracies that are supposed to be there. And I want to say that going forward, the greatest threat that they want to put this country in is that everybody should provide security for themselves because the state is not able to do it. And once that happens, that is lawlessness. Failed states begin in this manner. You have goons here, you have goons there. You have goons there, so that everybody is protecting themselves. That's why there is a state to provide security. Let the media be guaranteed of their security. Let the people who are there be guaranteed of their security. Remember, in genuine politics, what we should fight for is the struggle for ideas and plans. And if they have anything that they oppose, let them oppose what we have on the table. And if the government is so good, why is it not able to provide security for senior leaders? The second deputy president, even without anything else, somebody who has served in that office deserves security and proper security. He does not have any security. He uses private security. All his police were withdrawn. The last 4 that were accorded to him, 2 at the gate and 2 to accompany him, they were removed. So he does not have any state security up to date. And even after doing a letter to the IG has never responded up to date. And it is said that a few people from government called and said he should not have security. Quite unfortunate.
Okay. There's been this new culture of goonery. How do you say it? We see so many people disrupting events. The former deputy president has said that his life is in danger several times. What do you make of these events that have transpired this week?
Divisive politics will not take the country very far. Secondly, as a good friend of president, I would like to advise him. The best thing actually you can do to this nation is to protect all the people who are opposing you. Provide adequate security for Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Provide adequate security for Gachagua. And Kenyans will know who is right. Actually, right now, what is happening, he is giving Gachagua more sympathy votes when he is disrupting his political rallies, when he is not. Of course, when political rallies are being disrupted for Gachagua, then withdrawing of his security as per the Constitution, it is not right. Let us exercise the Constitution we got in 2010. Everybody has got fundamental freedom of protection and security as well. So to me, I think this issue should be fixed. And the only person who can assist presidents in doing this thing is the CS. My friend Murkomen is not really handling these issues of security very well. That meeting actually should have been protected fully by the state. Yeah, by showing that they don't have an enmity with anybody. President is a symbol of national unity. Whether you are being opposed or you are being done what, you need to show that unity. I wish we can borrow the leaf Kibaki. Kibaki used to be attacked so many times, but he never violated any form of the Constitution. In fact, he used to love his friends and enemies, and of course enemies, and that is why he won the many Kenyans' heart. And I think it is high time the people who are around the president to advise him very well. Yeah.
And of course, you are elected under
Wiper Democratic, yes.
But you have been causing up to the government.
Yeah.
Are you still in good books with your...
I am in good books with my party leader, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. But just as I stated earlier, I am elected president is elected, Onesimus is elected, everybody who is elected needs adequate time to deliver his services so that when he fails, he doesn't blame another person.
Okay.
Broad-based was just formed so that we can get developments across the country evenly.
So before
I am sure there are road projects going on in central Kenya. There are roads projects going on in northern Kenya. Roads project going on in eastern Kenya. So what we need to do, it is not to show that enmity, but help the president to deliver what you promised to your people.
that is just
in your
that is just
constituency.
bread-based. There is nothing like broad-based.
In the constitution, parliament is placed before the executive. Chapter 8 is about legislation, the parliamentary guys. Parliament is there. Then we have executive. Then we have the judiciary, which means that was deliberate. Kenyans, if members of parliament were representing Kenyans as they are supposed to be, then we will not have this issue, because if you do quick research in town and talk to a few people, maybe 1,000, majority will tell you we have one of the most parliament Kenya ever had. Why? When we had the Gen Z, demonstrations, parliament, people like KJ were telling us that you're using videos to create deep fake what? You see?
That he is an editor. He understands the difference between an edited photo and a real one.
I studied BA in journalism and mass communication. You don't just say these things are fake until you have the authority to say you are satisfied. Even in court, you must have papers to tell the judge that this is fake and this is original. I don't think he has that knowledge. That is not ridiculous acting in terms of comedy. What he was saying was the lives of Kenyans. You have had my area member of parliament, Major Bashir, saying people die all over the world. We sympathize and then we move. That was one of the most sensitive things to say. Maybe he meant something else, but the way it came out, I was in Mandera. I have a son, I have sons, I have daughters, I am a son myself. How will Bashir have, or any other MP, KJ, or all of them say the same, if that one of the guys killed in parliament was either the son, the brother, or the uncle? You saw a police officer started crying after he realized his brother was killed. You see, this is a country that is unequal, even before the law. Now, these guys had either to use ambulances or run through the tunnel. If they were men enough, why didn't they wait and fight people? Only one person came out, which means the sovereign power belongs to the people. What I want to tell Gen Zs, and I tweeted, the state is powerful, okay? The state is powerful. So what we need to do is that next time Gen Zs will want to, demonstrate, at least this regime and the previous regime, they do not support, rather value human life. So at least make sure you have gloves, make sure you hide yourself, because that's at least what you can do, so that you live.
Okay.
If you die, no one cares. Yeah, because your mother will suffer. You saw a mother crying that my whole world has crashed. So what we're saying is this: there is moral question in this country. Is President Ruto morally, right to come to television and tell us the guys who went were criminals, which means the state is failing? The state has the machinery to know who does what, when, and how. Now, to my friend here, the Gachagua team, what they were supposed to do strategically, they were supposed to have at least 2 or 3 launching centers. They knew the state will come. They knew the state will plant people. They knew the state is watching. They are listening to earphones. They have the capacity to do that. They are monitoring their houses, whether they're using drones or spies or informants, including the cooks and the cleaners in their houses. So, Gachagua was a former DC, he should know these things. So what we are saying is that power should not get into your mind.
Correct.
So what we are saying is the country has a problem. And if we are not careful, currently the people doing this are the product of Kibaki. My niece, I remember, was born in 2000 September. She is now becoming a doctor in few months. Okay? 2002, President Kibaki came. We got free primary education. We got secondary education. Then universities were at least subsidized. Now, the product you have are millions of people who are hosting spaces of about 5,000 people per night. So now, because of technology, almost 38 million Kenyans have smartphones, and almost 28 of them are connected to internet,
So
which means every night in shows, on Twitter, people are in the States, Europe, Africa, everywhere.
The world is
so
a global
the government needs to evolve by saying we cannot do business. When Moi was here, my dad and my uncle used to travel 7 days to get food. Where they used to travel 7 days, using my Nissan Patrol, we traveled 2.5 hours. I used to go to school walking. My daughter goes to school by drive. I drive her. So you see how generations are changing.
Correct.
Things have changed.
Yeah.
The president needs to know
That it needs to change.
No. This is not the Kenya that was under Moi. This is not the Kenya that was under Kenyatta. This is a different Kenya where, like when you tell him about tribe or clans or those things, I haven't seen these things helping me.
Okay.
What we need to build, when you are building a country,
Yeah.
you're building a country for posterity for everybody.
Okay. The arrival or the announcement by your party leader that he is going to be, he actually says he's the best one to be the presidential candidate for the opposition outfit. Do you first of all agree that he's the best fit for that job?
Rigathi is in his right to believe and to present himself as the best. Nonetheless, in his statement, he said that once somebody else gets the opportunity, that is Kalonzo Musyoka, Matiang'i, Martha Karua, Seki, or any other candidate becomes the preferred one, because what we'll have a coalition of people who believe on the alternative of William Ruto. As we talk, Rigathi Gachagua has a pending issue in court, and remember the appeal court has given its position that whatever was done by the Deputy Chief Justice was unconstitutional. In this case, Rigathi Gachagua, until he has exhausted all legal means,
Or appeal mechanism?
yes, he is in his right to vie, just like President William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua vied when they have a case in The Hague. They were allowed, because the law, until you have exhausted all legal means, you are in your right to vie, and therefore presenting himself as a candidate is within his constitutional right. I also want to say that remember, in politics, it's never about we'll give you. It is candidates who present themselves to be the best.
Power is not given.
Yeah.
It's taken.
So Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, Matiang'i, they will present themselves to be the most suitable.
But because you are the insider there, you meet these people every day. You meet with the former deputy president, Kalonzo, and all that team. From what you see, is there some tension inside that everybody is really scrambling to be the flag bearer?
There's a lot of excitement from different regions. I mean, if the Kisis had Matiang'i, they would feel very good because they've never had a president from there. If Kalonzo became the flag bearer, the people from Mokambani will be so happy.
Kenyans will not easily buy the candidature of Gachagua. Point number one, he has profiled himself as
But say Charles Nguna, not Kenyans.
It's Kenyans.
Charles Nguna.
He has been he is good at uniting the
He is
Mount
very
Kenya
popular
region.
in your constituency, and you know
He is good in uniting the Mount Kenya region, but he's not good at uniting the whole country. Most of the things he speaks about it, the mountain.
Murima.
We need a balanced candidate who is actually seen as a national thinker. And I think the best bet out of all those you have mentioned is Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who has been seen as a national figure. International communities accept him, and all the right people actually. He is the only sober guy.
I don't have a problem. I think Kalonzo actually makes a good candidate.
Yes.
The only problem we have is the thinking of Charles Nguna. Don't be retrogressive. You cannot think, don't think, you know very well, before he left office, you were on my case every day you want to visit the deputy president. Don't begin to talk like this
But-
when you're here.
But when you
Just because he's out of office, don't
but
change your
out of his
confessions.
pronouncements, many pronouncements actually.
But you are crying.
made
You
him,
want to see the
made
deputy
him to
president.
look like a regional leader more than a national leader. Remember, he has been talking about mountain.
You
and
wanted him to
that
campaign
is
for you
one
in
of
the
the
Hakka
biggest reason why I impeached him unapologetically.
But when
Yes.
when he provided titles to your people, you were happy.
Which
when he was in
titles?
office,
Which title?
the Tharaka.
No,
You know very well.
never.
He provided.
He
that
never
for you.
came to my constituency.
Don't be
He has
ungrateful.
never.
Well, I
Be
think,
grateful.
Yes,
Be
never.
grateful.
First of all, as I
Yes.
said, Ruto will have plan A, plan B, and plan C.
Which would be to add some candidates.
Not only that, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Ruto is thinking about 2027. Ruto is thinking about his transition government of 2032 if he's elected. Okay? Why am I saying that? Women vote in Kenya is about 47%. What happens if he brings Gladys Wanga or Anne Waiguru? That is one option. Option two is to go. It doesn't mean that he's not going to get votes in central Kenya. That will be a lie. If you got about more than 47 or 46%, he's going to get lesser, but he's going to get votes.
Like
he
how
still
many
has-
votes? Because he got about 3.6
Well,
million from
until now we do a very robust research. We will be guessing between 10 to 25%.
what? Which is about
A million,
2 million.
a million plus, not 2 million. Now, Kalonzo Musyoka is comes with a basket of about 1.5 to 2 million. Now, the difference between Gachagua, Ruto, and Kalonzo, you need the ability to dare, which is not common. Softness, I'm not saying you should be arrogant, but you should wait until even a bullet hits you if you're brave enough. That's what Raila did the other time. Why are people after Raila? He is daring like a state. So when
And Gachagua is daring.
Gachagua is daring, yes, but will Gachagua dare if he is a Oria? Or if he was a Masai? He has a basket and a system that has been in place for the last 62 years.
Okay.
Ruto will analyze is to look at the Luos or the Luyas.
And Northeastern. It's the new
You see, there is a notion in this country. I come from Mandera.
Yeah.
I never voted for Ruto. Okay? So it doesn't necessarily mean that Northeastern is his basket. Says who? There are a lot of things that are going to happen between now, because we have 28 months already done. We have another 22 months until Parliament is going for,
27 April 2027.
2027 April.
3 months
Yes.
to go.
3 months
Yes.
to go,
Or
isn't
two.
it?
Three,
Oh,
yeah.
2-3 months. So we have 27 months, almost 3 years. Now, you cannot say things are going to be, basket. You are going to have a basket. President Ruto has the state, which is very powerful. He is now the president, whether we like it or not. He has resources. He is now treasury. He is the expert, so-called quote-unquote expert provided by the bread-based government, as my Mheshimiwa will put it. But I think he has the state and he has the resources. He is going to look for the clans, the tribes in Kenya, isn't it? Now, what Kenyans can do, I said on Spice, a day will come. Kenyans will be so angry, members of parliament will be thrown into the dustbin, like what happened in Chile. They almost dropped them in dustbins until they ran under the ambulances.
When President William Ruto, every weekend, every week he was in Mount Kenya, why was he not tribal? Every weekend he was in Mount Kenya.
Ruto is not a
He
a
spent
Kikuyu.
all but he was going
He's
to the
not a
vote-rich
Kikuyu.
region
It's about
to
the vote.
try. Yeah, it's about the votes. It has nothing to do
And
with
the
the
votes
tribe.
belong to ethnic
And let me tell you, Rigathi was in. I was with him in Machakos. I have been with him in Naivasha. We will be in Narok soon. And let me tell you, we
Naivasha
have
is still
we
not
have an
Kenya.
itinerary. We have an itinerary, but we must stick to the vote-rich area. Because some constituencies, for instance, Embakasi North, where the Honorable Gachagua comes from, has 167,000 voters. Why would you concentrate so much where Dwele comes from and he is elected by 15,000 voters?
How many votes does Gachagua bring on the table?
About 6 million now.
About 6 million votes.
Yeah.
How many votes does Kalonzo bring on the table?
2 million.
How many
Max.
votes?
About 2 million max.
Max.
Yeah. Even
Not
outside
max.
Kajiado, because he outside
Not max.
Honorable Bongoda, we'll come to you. How many votes does who else? Matiang'i bring?
1 million at best.
1 million.
Yeah.
Who else is there? Eugene?
Eugene,
300.
if the Luyas are not divided, they come second, by the way. If they are not divided.
But is that a,
Yeah.
do you think they can marshal?
Sometimes
that
because of
position?
clan issues, it's a bit different.
Just Trans-Nzoia.
But if you know, even the Bukusus are
800,
quite a handful,
maybe.
about 1.2. Yeah.
So from that pecking order that you have given, do you think these other candidates stands a chance?
Of course, because of the number of votes, there are people who will, in the conversation, they have another advantage. It is not wrong.
But we have seen this even before when we had NASA, CORD and all that. There's always that tension. Who's going to be the candidate? Who's going to be the candidate? And then at the end of the day, the candidate is very clear.
But
Raila
Kalonzo
Odinga,
has always been the deputy to Raila.
because of the numbers.
But no, remember the Luyas vote for more for Raila. Look at all the arithmetics. They have always voted more. The Luyas have always voted more than any other community.
So-
But
so-
because Kalonzo is diplomatic, he's good, he can be a good deputy. He has always been his deputy until Martha
You're already
Karua.
giving him a position. Deputy.
Yeah, you see, it's only Martha Karua that displaced him, and that's why he wants to be a principal in our
Even
side.
in this outfit.
We have not reached there, and I would be very respectful in that conversation, because I told you we want to we want to make sure that William Ruto is a one-term president.
Most of the young people are extremely happy with what Kalonzo has been doing for them. He's the only person now in the former Azimio coalition. He has remained steadfast that he supports Gen Z. That is why I'm telling you, Kalonzo Musyoka's votes are more than 2 million.
How many are they?
Approximately 4 million.
Mheshimiwa,
Why?
Can you just
Why?
count it for
Break
us?
it down for us.
Break it
Why?
down.
Yes.
Why? Because
Just
you,
on the-
you
just on
guys.
the-
This is a new Bureau of Statistics by Charles Gould.
No, listen. I have listened to you, my friend. Let me break it down.
Okay.
You guys, when you talk of Kalonzo, you only think Kitui, Machakos, Makueni,
And a bit
which
of
has
a
got
bit of
actually
Taita
now
Taveta.
2 million. That one is already 2 million, because at the moment I'm registering youth with, they are taking IDs, and we are ready for the elections 2027 when we constitute the IBC. Secondly, Kalonzo Musyoka has got control in cost, 30% of cost region.
30%.
Yes,
And the votes in
I'm
coast
talking
are
of,
about to
for
be
example,
1.5.
Taita Taveta, Taita Taveta, 3 out of 4 MPs are for Wiper. The leader of majority in that Taita Taveta assembly is, it's a Wiper Democrat. Actually, we are calling it Wiper Patriotic Front right now. It's not Wiper Democrat anymore. Secondly, there's issue of yes, there's issue of Nairobi, which Kalonzo also controls a lot. So Nairobi, Kalonzo can easily garner like 1.2 million votes. So that's why I'm saying he has full control of 4 million votes.
in the country.
Yes.
So you mentioned something in passing, and I want you to repeat it.
Yes.
Because the former vice president has told us that there are plans to rebrand your party. So what are you rebranding to, and what are you changing?
The party already met, National Executive Committee, NEC met, and now it is Wiper Patriotic Front. That is the name. Secondly, the motto is Komboa Kenya. It's no longer Kazi Bila Wizi. It is Komboa Kenya. Right now, things are changing, and it will be unveiled very soon. So, wengine wanasema sikiza wa Kenya. Sasa Wiper is Komboa Kenya at the moment, and that is the position. You will see this news very soon. There will be National Delegates Conference at Kasarani, and things will be normalized.
But you are shifting to UDA.
Who told you when you are working
don't
the
follow
president
Kalonzo.
you
You
are?
don't believe in
What is the
Kalonzo.
problem? He was there before he left.
What is
But you
what
know,
is the problem with this
You don't
guy?
believe in Kalonzo.
I said I am going to support president to deliver the project in my
Talking of
constituency
William Ruto
which he
here. You're
promised.
talking of William Ruto.
Supporting him to do my road.
No.
Supporting him to do my TVETs and universities.
You are supporting
It's
him
not doesn't
to bankrupt
mean
the country.
you are going to UDA, my friend.
Supporting your party leader. Ascribe to your party. Your party is wiper. You are not even talking of your
now
party.
the party is
This guy is
Our governance, this country's governance is so petty that a president is going to launch a class or a TVET or this. What is the county director of TVET going to do? We have made the presidency to be the development orient. That's not what the president's supposed to do. So the issue of launching projects, and you talked about goons earlier. You remember the Men in Black in Kasarani in 2016. I was there. So it's a culture of that has been evolving for some time. Government states use them. Now the issue of road project, Northern Kenya now a road has been launched. You remember the
Ile kutoka Samata.
Samatar, Kobo, Ramo, these
Ile
days,
Kotulu.
Madagashe.
Alafu imalizia
I
hapa.
traveled. The one for Isiolo has started. The one for Wajir to Garissa, Wajir to Kutulo, they are clearing the bushes. But now the one they did before, that is from Garissa to Madagashe, it's already being destroyed by water because it was poorly done. When I spoke to the engineers, I was
the issue of president is the issue of supervision. The issue of CS
you
and
cannot
the
say the president
engineers.
is launching and the workmanship is poor, which means if the workmanship is poor, the president is either incompetent or partly part of the deal. You cannot tell me that the president is the one launching projects and then roads are washed away and then you blame the engineer. Why didn't you tell the engineer
Arrest
to
the
design in the
engineer.
first place? Now let me say this. Roads have two enemies when I spoke to engineers. One is water. Two are vehicles. In Northern Kenya there are not a lot of vehicles, so we only have problem with water.
And
The workmanship is poor.
Yeah.
Okay? I have information and I'm still pursuing that the road between Mandera and Ramo, which is about 80 kilometers, is going to be a Maram road, not a tarmac road. There is no money.
Wait, the president said it will be tarmac.
That's what he said. That's what he always says. You remember when we went to Nyayo? Remember the university that is going to offer certificates? I was there, I didn't get it. So there are so many things he said that never materialized.
So he's been lying.
Technically, yes. Technically has been lie, because what is a lie? A lie is when you say something that is not the truth. So now that political parties, I told you, are just grouping and reshuffling of tribes, we have no problem. We are tribes in this country. I cannot be a Kikuyu, he can't be a Kamba or a Lui. We are all born in what matters is we have 57 million strangers called Kenyans, citizens who have decided to live with each other. Because if you look at your phone, you have about 2,000 people. How many of those are your tribemen?
Very few.
Building a nation requires foresight. Building a nation requires someone who thinks about generations. Ruto is now getting old. So, and he was born around, independence, isn't it? So those who were born in the 90s,
65 actually.
he's now 65.
66. He was born in 1966.
He's 58.
Around
Yeah,
58,
58.
59.
Yeah.
The country is 60, almost 62. So he was born 4 years after independence. Those of people who were born in the 80s, in the 90s, in 2000 have a different life. So what needs to happen is this. If you look at our population, the population of UK is 69, but the growth is 0.65. Ours is between 1.2 to 2%. So we have relatively a very young country. Now, what the president needs to do is he needs to have production of art, production of technology. China and countries are using drones to spray fertilizers of acres of land. So 85% of the budget is with the national government.
Okay.
The 15% that is going to counties have issues.
Which is hard.
Corruption is a cancer in this country.
Yeah.
When you approve that a road should be built It was approved in 2021, and I'm the member of parliament. I should provide the resources through
That
parliament.
one I agree.
And the president
That
should
one I
execute.
agree.
Listen, I have roads in my constituency that I have stalled. President William Ruto has announced in 2023, December 15th, that the 65 kilometers will go on. Zero is happening. I don't need to work with him. He's the executor of the roads.
Maybe.
So
Maybe
Mheshimiwa,
the
because
next
I was
2
actually
years.
in your constituency yesterday.
Yes.
Kajiado North. I saw there was a road that we used that was not very good. Would you attribute that to the president, or it is you as a member of parliament?
Listen, a member of parliament has 2 roles, or 3 for that matter. I should be able to legislate, to provide the resources through parliament. Remember, all monies are appropriated through the through parliament. That one we have done. The president actually told us to change for him the law so that he gets 6 shillings, so that he's able to pay all the pending bills. We provided that for him. Even the finance bill that he wanted, I was one of those members who helped him to approve.
Okay.
And we were doing that so that he has resources to be able to deliver on his mandate. Zero. It was a lie. Now, he has not delivered
So
on
you
anything.
represent, oversight, and legislate.
And then legislate. And
That's
in
it.
part of legislation
Actually.
is providing resources. Remember, the president provides what are called estimates.
Yeah.
Public Finance Management Act provides that you can only alter 10%. And I want to say in budgeting, people should not say that members of parliament are the ones who necessarily choose which project goes where.
It's the executive.
The executive proposes and you can only alter 10%.
10%. Just
The
like in the
10%,
assemblies.
what it means,
Yeah.
you can only do very little. If they do not propose a project in your constituency, getting a vote line, that is difficult. And the
Yeah.
Public Finance Management Act
yeah.
protects the executive so that a government can stick to probably its manifesto.
Okay.
And that's very key, so that when we tell you that the president has lied, for instance, we who are in UDA, we have facts of how he has lied. He came, we did a charter, we agreed what should be done, and it has not been done. Promised by word. I can play for you the clip, like you played several. I can give you a clip of the president lying. Up to now, zero progress. I have a road called Gachagua Road.
There's still time. He says, let's give the president
But
time.
why say 1 year and then you don't do? Remember,
Pursue.
it's the executive.
Pursue.
My job is not to pursue. I'm meant to
Yeah.
legislate,
You need to-
oversight,
you-
and
you
represent
need to
people.
follow up your projects.
Listen, we have done all manner of letters. We have done all manner of questions. I have asked the minister in parliament, Kipchumba Murkomen, and the commitment has been, we do not have resources. But remember, we have provided the 6 shillings that the president needed to be able to do those projects. And my worry is this. My worry is this. Probably there is theft in treasury, because we set aside funds, and in a financial year, those funds do not go to do what they are supposed to
Okay.
do.
Please ask Honorable Gogoyo.
Yes.
This is your
Noise
member.
maker.
Yes. That Muulize, what his achievements are in out of constituency, apart from following Gachagua everywhere.
Since being elected, I have been able to oversee execution of 2 new primary schools. One in Ngongata Rongai called Olepasha Primary School. We now have a fully fledged primary school that we have started, registered by the County Education Board. When you go to Ngong, we have started Professor Saitoti, ongoing construction. Number 2, we have 2 secondary schools that we are setting up, Odupoi, and we're also starting another secondary school in Kiserian. Now, why are we, what is the role, what is my role as a member of parliament? One is to be able to provide education. I'm the one who oversights to make sure that I pass the necessary infrastructure to make sure that we can do new institutions, accommodate the population that we have. About following Gachagua, I am on clear instructions to listen to the people. My people believe in Rigathi Gachagua.
DCP.
Yes, and my people believe in Rigathi Gachagua. I followed him when he was member of parliament. I followed him when he was the deputy president. I still follow him today.
Okay.
Every Kenyan has the right to vote for whoever they want. That's why we have a democracy, even though President Ruto is trying to have a dictatorship by, overseeing terror in this country. Authoritarian tendencies control 5 areas. They control health, they control defense, they control the law. How many women have been killed since Ruto was elected? How many people have disappeared? So we have in a country that is not accountable to its laws. You see, when we had the constitution in 2013, we had agreed as a country we are going to be ruled in a certain way, using the constitution and other statutory laws. If the president is the one launching buses and TVETs and roads everywhere. What is the function of the
And classrooms
Ministry of
constructed
classrooms
by CDF.
Yeah, what is the or even relaunching projects that were done during Uhuru in central Kenya? I wrote about them on Twitter. What is the function of the Ministry of Plan and Economics? What is the function of the PS? What is the function of the cabinet secretary? What is the function of the technocrats? What is the function of the government? You want to tell me? No, I was told that almost he has 50-something advisors.
There are 20.
There
20.
20,
Yeah.
which I was told he advises them on how to advise him. Now, you know, when you study government, which I did, what Ruto sometimes, I look at him and I see he's making charade of how to govern the country. What he's doing sometimes is misgovernance. When you go and launch a class, CDF belt or I don't know, a TVET, what happens with you know, developing foreign policy, you know, working on how to health in this country is 129 billion Kenya shillings. I want to ask the president one question. Why are Kenyans sick?
But he can't control that.
No, he can. Let me tell you why. Agriculture is in distress. Out of 25% of our GDP comes from agriculture. 75 depends on labor force work. Meaning, the guys in Kikomba, the guys who are doing Juakali, the people who work class 8 levers, form 4 levers, are all stressed because of economics. Okay. If you don't have, and I said this even in Mandera. Wait, let me say this. When you don't have enough food to eat, you eat the drugs. That's why they spend 129 billion on drugs and health.
I just want to stretch this. Actually, the role of developing the country is a collective responsibility. We cannot leave it only to president. The people who have been mandated to carry out the functions, especially the cabinet secretaries, are the ones responsible and the ones failing the president. Parliament has done its role in terms of budgeting, doing so many, we have passed so many legislative bills. It is high time the executive wakes up and implement. Remember, it is not Kibaki who delivered, but his cabinet that delivered what he promised to people. Okay. So right now, the executive, they need to wake up.
Okay. I've been in meetings where the president himself says that until he gives instructions, some of the CSS cannot do anything. And let me tell you, the worst problem we have with President William Ruto, he's all-knowing, he does everything, and the president does not delegate. Some of these ministries are run by him directly on how he thinks. For instance, on health. It is the president who knows the universal health care in his thinking. The universal health care, the people who were in the ministry, when President Uhuru Kenyatta was there, they had developed a formula on how to implement universal health care. They proposed 4 counties to begin with. Machakos, Isiolo, Kisumu, and Mombasa. And they said, let us pilot those 4 counties. And they said we must pilot for 3 years. We will have known the strength of urban centers, rural, and we're in high what they call places where people get, for instance, diseases, especially yes. Yeah. And they took Mombasa because Mombasa and Kisumu because of certain yes. But William Ruto came with an idea that was from nowhere, that was not tested. And remember, when you're even testing a theory, you need to test the theory to make sure that this is a true theory. President William Ruto does not take the advice even from his advisors, and I want to bet he even advises his advisors. Now, why am I saying that? Yeah. And I want to, on this one, to say that genuinely, if the president was a listening president, if he was a coordinator, that you see when you tell somebody be minister for water, allow him to come up together with this team with ideas, bring to you as cabinet, and then approve. You can't be the one telling them this is how you're going to do it. And let me tell you, healthcare, universal healthcare, university funding model, and the issue of NHIF, those things were well tested. The implementation was to be done by people, heads, departments, experts who are there. But because of the president being all-knowing, doing everything, working single-handedly without delegating responsibility. That is why all those programs are failing.
A leader needs to be competent. When you're competent, you delegate. When you delegate, you give authority.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
So we want the president to slow down. He's fatigued. The
He's
president.
actually done that. In the past week, he's left almost the politics to the deputy president.
Yeah, what needs to happen now is this. Kenya is relatively a very rich country for the elites. But the downtrodden, down there, people are poor. Brother, if you travel this country, you like, people are now relocating, by the way. Doing business in Kenya is becoming expensive. There are more Kenyans now relocating to other countries than before.
Okay.
So the president needs to slow down.
Correct. So there's a statement that has been put out by Kalonzo Musyoka. He says this intimidation of the opposition must stop. Mr. Ruto, if you want to arrest Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, do it right away. Follow the law. Apparently, there have been reports that the government's security teams want to arrest the former deputy president.
I don't support what is happening at the moment, and arresting Rigathi Gachagua is actually building his image. He is going to earn sympathy votes. He is also going to earn a lot of respect from Kenyans. You know, when you are subjected to this kind of torture and violence, you are bound to gain popularity. Number two, Rigathi Gachagua has got constitutional and fundamental freedom of expression. Whatever he has said, so long as it's not hurting, or rather it's not actually subjecting the country to serious threats, he needs to be allowed to speak his mind. So that is why I'm telling you there's a problem. Who gave directives to arrest Rigathi Gachagua is not politically helping the president.
Any attempt to intimidate, to frustrate Rigathi Gachagua will be unconstitutional. If there is anything that the DCI, the police, or any institution, investigative institution has against Rigathi Gachagua, there are procedures on how to do it. They could write him summon letters, they could issue whatever they have. But the attempt that when he leaves a political rally, you find blockages along the road and then have people in his residence. Some of them last night were in the political party, a number of them with unknown cars. Whatever the attempts are, whether it is police, whether it is DCI, because the car looks, the cars that have been seen look like they're DCI. Let them know that Rigathi Gachagua is not on his own. He has people who support him. He has followers. He has people who believe in him. And any attempt to unconstitutionally intimidate Rigathi will not succeed in any manner.
If you always want to do the same thing and expecting a different result, then that becomes very difficult. The president needs to slow down. This country has one time reached the precipice of, chaos. We need a president who is human, a president with character, a president who shows integrity. My grandfather used to tell me, if a man cannot honor his words, testicles are just hanging on himself just for the purpose of recreation. But a real man is a man who fulfills his promise, he keeps time, and he honors his promises and fulfills his promises. Where we come from, we don't laugh at testicles. Thank you very much.
Wait.
We are different, that's why we look different, the way we dress, so
Yes.
Ruto must go.
That's not
And he
a
must go.
policy neither.
That's a rallying call. The DCP party, I'm aware, is embarking on coming up with its manifesto and what to sell to Kenyans. And I believe, by and large, we will have something on the table. But saying Ruto must go will not end. That's a rallying call. We are motivating people towards the next election. and they must come out to vote Ruto out so that he goes. This country, amidst the challenges that we have faced, or this government came to find, number one, if you find yourself in a hole, don't dig deeper. President William Ruto found this country, like he says, in debt, but he has continued to dig deeper. That's a problem. When you find that you don't have enough resources, live within your means. There are things you can avoid. The extravagancies you can get out. You can limit yourself. The extravagant employment that is unnecessary. You can employ teachers where you know there will be returns. What we need is strategic investment on tenants that can grow a country. And a country is grown by certain. For instance, he talked about a very serious issue of how companies are leaving this Kenya. Not Kenyans, even investors. They prefer going to Rwanda, some of them Ethiopia. This is not a strategic place because of one, KRA. And number two, the ease of doing business. For instance, Coca-Cola has a problem with the kind of water supply we have in Nairobi. They don't have enough water to make sodas. There are companies I know like Colgate. They are shifting their large scale consumption. They were doing it for Eastern and Central Africa. They want to do it from another country. And I'm telling you, we will lose on employment, on so many things. We need strategic investments on issues that can give returns, and quick returns, because when an economy is underperforming, there are places you know you can invest and give. For instance, the economic stimulus package, that's a program that can grow. You can invest on it and it has returns, like for instantly or spontaneously, and in a short time you can reap on those benefits.